Down joining me right here. Stevie, welcome to KNBR, the sports leader, flagship of the 49ers, honorary fans of the Buffalo Bills. Because, look, when you do a show with Greg Papa, yeah, we talk a lot of Niners, but it's probably like 95% Niners, 4% Bills, 1% everybody else. So kind of our honorary team here.
I like that. That's how it go. Always got to have the Bills in it. I love it. Go Bills.
All right, so first of all, how's our Radio Row week going for you? You enjoying the whole tour? I mean, look, I get it. The Bay, it's like you got San Francisco, San Jose. It's a little bit all over the place, but it is home.
Yeah, I mean, this is what it's about. I'm really like the fact that San Jose and the Bay Area Host Committee, they are opening it to the community out in San Jose and that side because obviously everybody only think about San Francisco. So it's good to see that everybody's getting involved.
All right, so let's get into some of the charity events you got going. So next Monday, I see we got a charity golf event at the Golden Hills Country Club in Millbrae. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I actually got into golf being in Buffalo with a lot of guys out there, and they got me out on the course. At first, I honestly did not like it. There was no highlights. A lot of people was missing. I'm like, what's the point of doing this? I hit a couple golf carts, but I just saw, like, the love that they had out there. It's about the camaraderie, about being with each other. So from there, I just ended up doing it each year and providing these activations which support our back-to-school programs. Annually, we work with the YMCA and we provide hygiene products, food, and products for school for kids to go back to school. So this is something that we do to kind of, spark the minds, with a fun golf tournament, but giving back to the community in a serious way.
And then I know 49er fans and listeners are going to love this one, where everybody loves George Kittle, great personality, tight end university, taking selfie videos, singing with Taylor Swift this last year. I'm hearing that you're trying to get a little wide receiver university going with a couple of other NFL vets.
Yes, I mean, it's like, why not? Just recently, I got some love from my peers in Chad Ochocinco, Richard Sherman, guys like DBs like Pat P. And then when you hear that, it's like, okay, I got to do more. I want to help these incoming guys in the league, and so I set up my Exposure Academy out in San Diego. We bring guys in before they get into the league, and I teach them things about the sport, obviously route technique and things like that. But that's just the icebreaker. And then I talk to them about mentality and how to prolong their career, things that I could have done better, and it's ultimately to help the player,
So what about the mentality is the stuff that you're going to want to tackle with young receivers who, look, if they're going to be at wide receiver university, everybody's going to have something in common of a lot of talent. When Kittle started this thing with Kelsey and the others, it was celebrating the tight end position, which could involve blocking, it could involve pass catching. It was a position that they often felt was overlooked. Wide receiver, it's kind of a different story where everybody knows who a wide receiver is. They're typically the stars. They get the touchdowns. A little bit of the stereotype of diva, wanting the ball and all that. So, yes, there is the technicalities of it, but mentally, what are some of those challenges of just being a good team player and trying to play winning football at all costs?
You know what? Right there, you just touched on being a good team player. It isn't just words that you hear. There's ways to go about being a good team player. And here's one thing that I want to dive into more, because a lot of players, they all have the talent, like we said. However, some players are too nice to their friends, basically. And that's where they kind of have that frustration with their coaches, because you don't want to really dominate your friends every day at practice. You're with them hanging out, you're watching film, and they might give you a sob story, but you got to stay locked in mentally and dominate that person. Whether he get cut or not, that's still your guy. But when you're speaking about football career, you have to be that type of dog, And then communication. Communication is big. That's one thing that I like to spark up with our receivers. Again, like you said, everybody's talented. But a lot of guys like myself, they think just the talent is going to speak for them. You still have to go in there and talk to your coaches. You still got to be that guy around the facility that makes those coaches comfortable with you and being inside the game, And I think that was one thing that helped me a lot become a player on the field, was my communication with the coaches and the staff around the facility. And a lot of kids, they don't think about that because they're so talented and their talent has got them on the field every level. But when you get to the league, it's more business and political, which is, it is what it is. But if you know how to play the game, it won't affect you as much as it did for me in the times.
I love it. And look, a lot of those guys, when they're that talented, going up through the ranks, a lot of them aren't used to losing, frankly. Exactly. And then it's a different story. So just to kind of give a fun fact here for everybody at the table, my first varsity high school basketball game. So, look, I was an undersized shooting guard with limited jumping ability, but we go to Rodriguez High School in Fairfield, and then I see this frame up there honoring some football player named Stevie Johnson who did pretty well over there. So you only played 1 year of your career with the 49ers, and it was before Kyle Shanahan ended up here and kind of starting the partnership with John Lynch and having the culture that we've known now for a decade. But how much did you love coming back to NorCal when that's been your home all along?
Yeah, I mean, it was special considering I'm able to finally play for the football team that I grew up watching, the jackets that I used to wear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's pretty cool. And now I'm suiting up, and then I score a touchdown. I get a couple touchdowns playing with guys like Kaepernick, who just started in a Super Bowl the year before, playing with guys like Anquan Bolden, Crabtree, Brandon Lloyd. He was there. He's an original 49er, came back, so it was cool to play with him. Vernon. It was a great experience. I wish it was more, but at the same time, you know, I'm glad that it happened.
And then obviously your connection to Buffalo, spending the bulk of your career there. I mean, this was before Buffalo was making the playoffs, before they had an MVP in Josh Allen, but you could still see how much football meant to the community, and I think we could see in the fan base how much a player like you meant to it. Just talk about your relationship with that city and their relationship with that team.
Yes, it means everything to me, you know, and in a time where it wasn't so digitally friendly now for players, in the sense of you can post clips and post your workouts, and maybe a coach will see it and be like, oh, yeah, we got this guy.
Yeah.
It was none of that back at that time, but what there was, it was message boards. And I end up reading into the message boards, and I said, you know what, if I can get the community to be on my side and say, hey, Stevie Johnson, then I might be able to make this team as a 7th-round draft pick. And that's exactly what happened. The message boards was flooding. Twitter was beginning to grow, I would say. I would post message boards clips from people, and then it got the attention of the coaches, you know,
Nice.
and I feel like that's what got me on the team. So I always be dear to the community.
All right, looking ahead at this game, we got NFL honors on Thursday night. Offensive Player of the Year could very well go to Jackson Smith-Njigba of the Seahawks. What do you see in a guy like him that maybe doesn't have the stereotypical build, or I should say prototypical build of a number one receiver?
Love it.
What makes him so lethal?
You know what? I'll just answer that question. His balance, his pace, and his route IQ.
Okay.
Those are the three things that make him so lethal. And I love the fact that he has took over the statistical category as a receiver, and he's not the 6'5" guy, not the 4'4", 4'3" type of guy. I mean, he understands his route IQ, meaning he knows how to get open at a certain time for his quarterback. His balance is great because whether you bump him or whatever he's doing, or whether he's absorbing contact, his balance is impeccable. He's never off balance. And then I'll say, route IQ. Oh, did I say timing? Oh, no, route IQ, balance, and
It was timing.
yeah, in the timing. Timing is everything, considering where Clint Kubiak lines him up. Sometimes he's lined up on the right outside. They'll motion him over and into the left side and go to the backfield. And now you got to run a receiver route from the backfield.
Yeah.
Now it's about timing. Are you going to turn your head at the right time, considering what's going on with the defense? Because defense is moving pieces. As the play snap, the defense might move to something else. And JSN is still smart enough to run a receiver position out the backfield and still be on time with it. And that's something where either you just working at it a lot or you just specially and got that gift.
What do you make of Joe Brady now as the head coach of the Buffalo Bills? Obviously a big change, a heartbreaking loss in Denver with the controversial interception catch. We had Nick Benito and Pat Surtain sitting right there a couple hours ago, and we're like, all right, seriously, what was it? And they're like, look, in real time, honestly, I didn't know. But result ended up being what it was. What are you thinking about Josh Allen continuing his high level of play now with the offensive coordinator getting that promo?
You know what? First of all, Joe Brady, top 5 offense both years as an offensive coordinator. You know, I have mixed emotions, to be honest, though. You know, when I heard he was going to be the coach, I'm like, okay, that's cool. He'll have another OC come in, and then that'll help Josh evolve into the game manager that he needs to be without having a coach tell him what to do, considering Joe Brady calls every call. But then when Joe Brady said he's going to remain calling calls, that kind of hit me where, like, okay, I'm not sure if I like this personally for Josh, because I want to see Josh evolve to a game manager, not just a guy who runs the plays that the coaches give him. You know, and I think that's what held him back. So I'm 50-50 because, again, Joe Brady, he has a top 5 offense. He's got great plays. He knows how to use it. However, it's just that game within a game when certain situations, like a first half, 16 seconds, You give him a play, you give Josh a play, but Josh isn't evolved enough to say, okay, I'm about to just throw it away because I'm not going to get nothing out of this. However, he stays and try to be the highlight maker that he is, and then we end up getting a fumble, and that kind of hurt the team. So it's like you got to protect your playmaker in a sense, and I don't think Coach Brady did that for Josh. And, I mean, we'll see how he evolves next season. I don't know what's going to happen because it's all a bunch of success, 11 wins, 10-plus wins. But we'll see when we get in those situations, though.
Well, dude, I really appreciate you coming by. I'll leave you with one more basketball-related story. You know the Hardwood Palace up in Rockland?
Yeah,
the
indeed.
big old complex. So I'm
Indeed.
playing AAU ball there sometime in middle school, and my family runs into this guy who recognized my father. His name was Steve Johnson. He gave me this photo of yours where you're making this incredible one-handed catch over Darrelle Revis. I've had that in my room, probably still sticking
Wow.
out somewhere by the mirror for a good decade or so. So I've always appreciated the true baller from Rodriguez High School in Northern California.
Hey, one love, Mr. Silver. And Pop, and shout out to the fam, too. Yeah, one love to the Pops, too.
Absolutely.
I love
yeah.
it.